Livelihoods, communities and individuals all need to take measures to be protected from disasters and must be able to adapt or cope with the changes in global climate. Being prepared to successfully respond to hazards, reducing their frequency and impact, and joining the advocacy to bring awareness about disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation is both relevant and crucial for vulnerable societies like Grenada. Over half of Grenada's population is comprised mainly of young people under the age of 30. There are 22 secondary schools with thousands of students. Recognizing their potential value as agents of change, the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, embarked on an intervention program to get students more involved in raising awareness about disaster management and climate change adaptation. The Comprehensive Disaster Management (CDM) Youth Champion Competition was introduced into secondary schools in Grenada in 2011 by NADMA. The program was funded by the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency (CDM), UK Aid, Australian Aid, and the Canadian International Development Agency.
The reason for this competition coming into being is because we looked at CDMA's CDM strategy, and it's a regional one. And as a result, we thought that we need to take an all-people's approach. We had to involve the youth, the young people of Grenada, understanding that the population in Grenada is purely youthful. When I say that because all statistics reveal that we have 60% or so young persons in Grenada. So we thought that we needed to engage them, ensure that they're a stakeholder in rolling out that regional strategy.
NADMA, early in the process, recognized in the CDM process, because it has been tailored from the comprehensive disaster management process, recognized the importance of having persons understand the challenges that they face, the vulnerability to those challenges, and things that they could do to reduce that vulnerability. The agency has decided to challenge the young people because we recognize that they need to understand the role that they play in life and how it will benefit or hurt them.
The theme of the 2012 CDM Youth Champion Competition was Youth Revealing Risk in a Changing Climate. The main objectives of the competition were to increase awareness of comprehensive disaster management and climate change adaptation among the secondary school population, to sensitize secondary school students and teachers on measures to reduce disaster risk, to equip students and teachers with the knowledge and tools for increased individual and collective protection against emergencies and disasters.
The National Disaster Management Agency would send out letters to these schools asking them to be part and parcel of this process, and also the Ministry of Education. Once we get the go-ahead from there, we would have a hazard plus climate change adaptation assigned to each school. So a school that's prone to flooding would get flooding and climate change adaptation. A school that, well, all the schools are prone to earthquakes, so they would have earthquake and climate change adaptation. They then would have to identify a teacher who would be responsible for the competition at the school level. The teacher would have to identify a student who would represent the school within that competition for the 3 months. That student, together with the teacher, would develop what you call a CDM peer education strategy. A strategy that outlines a list of activities, how they would go about throughout the 3 months in persuading their peers in achieving the objectives. After that, that participant would have to establish a CDM school group comprising of 10 boys and 10 girls in boys and girls school. But if you have a So the girls' school, you have 20 girls, boys, 20 boys. Another component would be where the student would have to mass a public relation campaign. Go on the radios, go on the TV, send articles in the newspaper, do their newsletters, do their community visits and that kind of stuff. They have to let the school know what they're doing, educate the school, and also sensitize the community within the vicinity of the school and Grenada as a whole. Another component, again, major component, is the shepherding of the school emergency plan process, because we believe that at the end of this competition, the school should have at least introduced the school emergency plan to the staff and to the students, and at least start working on that, working to ensure that you have a plan that we can work with. Also, the student had to work with the group to compose a song, a CDM song.
Whoa, and one thing that we really have to see is to be on the lookout just for you and me, cause here's our style.
One day I was in classroom and said, Edison said, Javon, let me make a song. You know, I said, alright. And we start constructing a beat, you know, I said, you say you got to be prepared in this time of your life. You know, you patch it up, we fix it up, we put up the voices. You know, and that was it.
It would be nice if you were certified, but first a training so you could save a life.
We have partnered with these young persons in such a way that they are now an integral part of NADMA's doing, NADMA's process within the community and within the school, and that's critical. We have never in the history of NADMA embraced young persons so, because we believe that they are a key stakeholder in moving the comprehensive disaster management process forward. And we are seeing the benefits, because why? Young persons are now talking more about comprehensive disaster management. They are now more involved in climate change adaptive activities, and that's critical.
And we need to become resilient. CDM groups from 15 secondary schools participated in a range of activities over the 3-month competition.
We had schools who prepared environmentally friendly gardens within the school vicinity. They had matches throughout the community, quite a number of matches, sensitizing the community, partnering with the 4-H within the school, partnering with the cadet co, partnering with the teachers, partnering with the drum co, and they go into the community with brochures and pamphlets, distributing that, educating persons about the hazard that they were dealing with and climate change adaptation. There are some schools who did community transit walk, going into the community, speaking to people there, asking them if they have their family plan. What do they need from NADMA? You know, doing surveys. There are schools who went through communities that are prone, sitting with families and talking to them, educating them, telling them that there is a CDM school group existing within that particular secondary school, and they're here to help.
Do you know what NADMA means?
If I remember well, I think it's the National Disaster Management Agency.
Right, yes. And with that, do you know the meaning of CDM?
Comprehensive Disaster Management.
Yes,
I hope I'm correct.
Yes, that is quite correct.
Since that you are not prepared for Hurricane Ivan and Emily, would you take it upon yourself as a responsibility to get prepared?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, putting aside hurricanes, disasters like earthquakes that are linked to tsunamis, if an earthquake were to occur and you're in a very safe building, right?
Yeah.
What would you do? I mean, you'll be all traumatized, so what would you do?
Well, where I live right by the river down there, I don't know what I'm going to do, you know? Because when I think it, you know, when something happens, they say something coming, you just wash on your one lip. So now I have to really, you know, sit back and relax and think a little more, read more.
Hi, I'm Rose Bargon, a student of the Beacon High School. Do you know what you should do during a hurricane? Keep a supply of flashlights.
Students were required to participate in a public relations campaign and appear on radio and television talk shows as part of their awareness activities.
Important aspect of the school functioning, daily functioning.
Yes, it is.
In what way?
It helps the school to be aware that they need to keep the surroundings clean, and it also aware them about climate change and also vehicle accidents and other important, yes.
That's wonderful.
So I think it's very good for the students and also the teachers.
The students, they are an agent of change. An agent of change not only in the school but within the family, within the community. And we're seeing that with this competition, with the introduction of this competition, we're actually seeing students not part of the problem, but we're seeing them as solvers of the problem.
A CDM Youth Champion Competition Facebook page was established for increased interaction with young people about CDM activities, and so the group activities began in earnest.
The objective of today's exercise is to basically give information to the public so that they can know about climate change and how they can help our nation.
Hi, this is the Beacon High School Comprehensive Disaster Management. Over here we have some pamphlets which give information about how to reduce and adapt to climate change.
As you can see, there are people around, everybody's learning, people are asking questions, they're taking pamphlets, books so that can help. We have even books for little children so they can do activities and learn more.
There is a great eagerness in terms of the children who are involved in the CDM, especially. I mean, they're on the move and there's no stopping them. They're understanding more even as they participate in the various functions that you may have or we may have or other social persons may have. They're understanding how they can link that with their academic work. So in other words, when they go out to sessions, they're not losing. And so it's a learning effort for them. It's a means of competition, yes, but in the long run, they are learning to understand themselves, how they can contribute in their own little way towards this whole climate change, whole adaptation, how to reduce carbon footprints and so. And what is even more important is the fact that they are understanding now that though climate change is something that affects us globally, well, we must zero in on what is happening here in Grenada.
Are you and I prepared to face the effects of climate change? We go about each day, spraying here, spraying there, and spraying everywhere, not mindful of the damage we are doing to our planet. TV is showing no one is watching. Lights are on yet the whole family is gone. Everyone traveling in their own gas-powered vehicles. Big bonus for the gas workers while planet Earth suffers. As we litter, we erase the glitter. Industries pumping toxic gases into the air, yet humanity doesn't even care. Adults, shame on you, smoking in front of children who are only 2. Are you and I still prepared to face the horrific effects of climate change? Remember, turn off the lights, carpool with the family and neighbors, switch off the TV. Not just you, but you, and me.
Each competing school was required to address a hazard. Boca Secondary School staged a fire evacuation drill to test students and teachers' emergency response.
Hello, yes, this is the principal of Boca Secondary School. This is Exercise. There's a fire at Boca Secondary School at the science lab, the chemistry lab to be specific. We would like your assistance as soon as possible. These persons are involved trying to put it out, but we need your help.
We had a fire at the lab, the science lab, and I and a member of the CDM group was there, and we saw fire, so we started running around telling the students that there is fire. So the students came outside, line up in twos, go down at the field.
A fire started in a particular classroom. Students saw it, the visibility was there, and they shouted fire, fire, and all the classes immediately evacuated with haste. You had that speed and they did it orderly. The teachers then took the roll call, verifying and confirming that all the students are out. There were 3 or 4 students who were missing. What happened when the fire brigade and the fire folks came here, they went into they extinguished the fire firstly, and then they did the light search and rescue, and they rescued the 3 individuals, and the Red Cross Society had a team of folks here to respond.
The whole objective of the exercise in detail was basically to educate and inform the entire school body as to how you handle a situation in fire hazard and so on. So I think the whole occurrence and execution of the fire drill was very important. What they have learned today, I believe they would take it and go home with it. And for parents, they would inform them. If mommy doesn't know, they would talk to them and say, "Mommy, well, we did this drill in school, and this is how it was done, and this is what we need to do, and this is what we need to leave back. We don't need to study material things. Our life is what is important," and so on and so forth.
The students did excellent. We had, I would think, 99.9% cooperation from the students. But I am particularly impressed with the teachers. I mean, they knowing that it is not real, but they cooperated fully, and they too, migrated from the compound and took part in the exercise, and it was well executed. As the principal of the school, I give the CDM my full support, encourage the entire staff and student body to be as supportive as we can to the CDM group and what they're doing.
Many areas in Grenada are prone to flooding. Wesley College Secondary School took on a flooding evacuation drill to ready them in the event of such a hazard.
Exercise. Flood waters at St. John's River is increasing, and as a result, I'm evacuating the school.
I met with the teachers. We briefed them on what is actually taking place and that the river was flooding. It was actually increasing, and let them know the steps that they should take, asking the students to pack away their things and line up orderly so that they can be evacuated safely. And then I tried calling the area education officer, which was unsuccessful. I also tried calling the ministry, and it was yet unsuccessful. Hence I had to call the manager of the school, where I was granted permission to evacuate the school. After that, I called 911 and informed them of the rising river, and let them know that I got permission to evacuate the school. I sounded the alarm, and the teachers took the children and came out at the back of the school where we have the gates where we can get to higher grounds. And when they got out here, teachers took the register and to ensure that all students were evacuated.
When you hear your name, raise your hand and say that you're here. Ralston, Kevin, Siren, Shondell.
Our team was search and rescue for the simulation today. It was performed very efficiently, but it could have been better. All classes were checked, and we ensured that it was safe for all students and no one was hurt in the process.
Selena? Yes. Donna?
I find today was real good. It was effective, but we were not that prepared, and the baggage is like too small because we could not get out in pairs. And well, the CDM group took chance here. We cleansed the area yesterday, and we tried our best to keep it clean, but the gate is too small, and due to the rainfall, it's muddy, and like an accident could have happened, but thank God nothing did.
It demonstrated a level of leadership in ensuring that the search and rescue was done by the cadets, in ensuring that the evacuation was orderly. The teachers took a lead role in ensuring that they took control of their classroom and they evacuated. They did the roll call. They evacuated some equipment, materials from the classes. As you can see, most of them were the garbage bags and so on. It's a clear indication that we are on that part of building the resilience of not only the schools but the community.
What seems to be a normal day at school could likely turn into having to deal with some natural disaster or hazard. The CDM school group in the Grenada Boys Secondary School executed an earthquake drill as part of its activities for the Comprehensive Disaster Management Youth Competition.
In collaboration with NADMA and the fire department, we have done a simulation of an earthquake, okay? And the purpose of this is to have the persons at the school level have a better appreciation of what to do during an earthquake and precautionary measures to take to safeguard lives.
The GBSS students also unveiled a billboard on climate change adaptation as part of the competition.
The members of the group, we came up with this idea: climate change is real, let's save the environment for the future of our children. And then in the middle of the world, the CDM, it shows, world natural phenomena, technological, biological, and in the bottom you can see human induced. We find brilliant ways of raising the funds to establish the billboard sign.
Under the comprehensive disaster management approach, we are building within individuals the ability to recognize there are challenges, must recognize they are vulnerable to those challenges, but we also recognize there are things they could do to build a resilience that will reduce that vulnerability, and in so doing reduce the risk of the country by extension. And that's the effort that we're trying to bring to our people, and we believe that the young people play a major role in that process.
I want to commend the agency, NADMA in particular, for the initiative of having this competition among the secondary schools. It augurs well for the future by starting with the youths of our nation to inform them and make them aware of climate change. As we see it happening around the world today, evidence and things are going to have catastrophic effects on our earth. It is important that we sensitize the young because we want to save the environment for the future.
The CDM group members at the Mount Rose Seventh-day Adventist Comprehensive School engaged in many activities as they sought to raise awareness and sensitize the school and community about comprehensive disaster management and climate change adaptation. A major activity held by the CDM group was the conducting of the school's General Assembly.
Disaster, be aware, you and your family should take care. Like the thunder, when it rains, disaster causes a lot of pain. CDM school groups, care for you, we are prepared, so should be too. Disaster, be alert, so nobody will get hurt. Disaster, be aware, you and your family should take care. Like the thunder, when it rains, disaster causes a lot of pain.
I'm delighted to address you on a very important and relevant topic, the increasing risk of climate change and drought disaster management. Climate change is a significant and lasting change in the statistical distribution of weather patterns over periods ranging from decades to millions of years. It is mainly caused by global warming, which is the rising of the world's temperature. Global climate change has already had damaging effects on the environment. One such disaster of climate change is droughts. As temperatures rise globally, the amount of moisture that evaporates from land and water will also increase, leading to drought in many areas, with potentially devastating consequences for agriculture, water supply, and human health. You may ask, how can we get involved and help reduce drought disaster risk and climate change? First and foremost, jump on the climate change and the drought disaster risk reduction campaign trail and get others to join you on the bandwagon. Talk to people, just as what we are doing now. What you have learned here today, pass it on. Send emails, hold meetings, and simply make a change from today.
This CDM youth group is a very active group in this school. I would say it is the most active group in this school. There are about 52 students involved, and there is always spirited participation in the activities organized by the group. This year their theme is Go Green, and their motto, No Disaster, No Disaster. Since the competition began, they have engaged in a number of activities, drug marches. They have developed a plot at the back of the school where they are cultivating short crops. They have distributed posters to inform the community on the awareness of conservation and what is happening because of climate change. And there are other things planned. They're going into the churches to keep the churches informed as to what is happening with climate change. Now, they conducted a large-scale cleanup campaign in the school. What was significant is that they were able to harness the assistance of community members to come in and clean the drain. They did a thorough cleanup of the school. So we're very happy to have them. Our school was a champion last year, and we are supporting them and hope that they will secure the championship again this year.
Your topic for your CDM program deals with climate change, and we all know the impact that climate change can have on water resources. They have always been taught for months, years, centuries should I say, that water resources are dwindling. And as climate change takes force, as we are seeing from 2010 when Nawasa had to be faced with a very bad drought period. And I'm certain many of you would have been aware that we had to put restrictions towards water usage. So you were not allowed to, your parents should I say, were not allowed to wash their vehicles with hose. And we had many other restrictions in terms of the use of our sandpipes, etc. with regards to water conservation. And this was one, should I say, for us in Grenada, one of the biggest impact that climate change would have had on water resources.
I compliment NADMA because I think that this year, getting the children to focus on a topic related to climate change, as we see what climate change is doing not only in Grenada in terms of dwindling of water supplies, but also throughout the world. And I think it is a good initiative to explore and let persons be more aware of the impact that climate change can have on us as an individual, on the Grenada as a whole. So I think it is also a good thing to involve children, because I've always said children are the biggest and the best options that you have to get messages of any nature across. So I commend NADMA for having this initiative, and I think at the end of it that the students will be more qualified or in a better position to educate not only their peers as a group, but the school, the community, Grenada on a whole, for climate change disaster management.
What are the ways that you can waste water at your home? When you're bathing, how many persons are singing, soaping, and the tap is open? Right, good. Right, so you know that's one way that you waste a lot of water. So you have to try to minimize that as much as possible. It is not only about conserving water, but it's about assisting your parents with controlling the high water bills. But it also helps Grenada on a whole. So thank you and have a great day.
An exciting highlight for CDM participants was the Grenada excursion organized by NADMA. Hundreds of students from all participating secondary schools visited the Grenada rainforest, where they got a first-hand view of the effects of climate change on Grenada.
We're up here today because we're having this activity as a walk to learn about the Grenada fauna, the forest, the importance of the Grenada forest, and how it helps Grenada. It helps Grenada in plenty of ways. It helps Grenada as habitats to the Mona monkeys and other wildlife animals.
Enlighten you on the importance of this forest area to Grenada, and also so that you can also learn some of the benefits of the forest and how climate change in particular is impacting on this valuable resource.
Gotta be prepared in this time of your life. Be prepared in this time of your life. You don't know what gonna hit you. You don't know what gonna hit you. They say gotta be prepared in this time of your life. Be prepared in this time of your life. You don't know what gonna hit you. You don't know what gonna hit you. Listen, when there's a storm, listen to the radio. Pack your bags so when it's time to go. Remember to always pray right through. Prepare for the storms and disasters too. Every year tourists come to Grenada to look around this island full of nature. Even them face natural disaster because it can come anyway from far. Me say gotta.
As you look around, you would notice that on the hilltops
We have a type of forest which is being called cloud forest. Now this cloud forest consists of elfin woodlands, which are the stunted trees on top of the hills. It also consists of palm bricks and what is being called mountain thicket.
The kids are very, very important as stakeholders because they are the future generations, and they are the ones who are going to be the caretakers of the forest. So it is important that we teach them at that age the significance of protecting the forest, because the forest, as we know, is vital to the sustainability of the human being on Earth.
Now this is the effect of Hurricane Ivan. So at the moment, the whole of the reserve is somewhat exposed, and it will take another 10 to 15 years before this rainforest regain its original state.
I think this initiative by NADMA is very, very important for the environmental and also the economic development of this country.
Grenada Forest Reserve is very important for wildlife biodiversity. One of the importance of wildlife biodiversity is public education, ecotourism. Also, wildlife is important to us in terms of research. Okay? Also, as a means of livelihood sustainability. A lot of us, as Mr. Thomas mentioned, families or people in our families hunt some of the wildlife species we have on the island. It is very important that we manage our wildlife resources for sustainability, meaning that our wildlife resources must be used in a sustainable manner. All wildlife in the Grenada Forest Reserve is strictly protected. Nobody is supposed to hunt or take any of the wildlife from the Grenada Forest Reserve.
Well, I try to highlight the importance of the wildlife, to the kids in terms of the benefits of the wildlife on Grenada and how climate change in particular, which they are focusing on, is affecting wildlife species. And particularly here at the Grenada Forest Reserve, we have some of the traditional wild game species that are being hunted, but Grenada is a protected area and is a restricted area for hunting. Although these animals are here, for example, we have the armadillo or the tattoo, the manikou, and we also have the Mona monkey, which is an introduced species, but it's been used as a wildlife species and is hunted as well. And we also have iguanas. Even at this elevation, we also have iguanas up here. So these wildlife species are critically important to our biodiversity.
The Grenada Forest Reserve transgress many of the parishes in Grenada. As you said, 4 parishes. So it's important that you know where the Grenada Forest Reserve is located. In terms of regulating wildlife species on the island, there is a closed and open season for the hunting of our wildlife game species. So it is important that young people like you all support the forestry department in our conservation initiatives so that we can educate our older population or people who are doing illegal activities in the forest reserve and also in other areas.
A lot of them are living here now knowing that the animals are not just hunted everywhere and at any time, but there are particular times when the animals are allowed, to breed. That is in the closed season, so they are aware of that, and they are also aware of the restrictions on Grenada as a non-hunting area, right? No-take area. All right, so they have something that they can take away with them, and that information that they take away with them is important for the forestry department in terms of information, and dissemination.
I wish I had all the water I need. I want to urge the people to get prepared so there won't be any love water then. Because every time I feel the heat, I think that a drought is coming. Yeah, yeah. The rain's not going to fall for a long time, I swear. The wild better prepare, because the drought is very near.
Well, it was a good exercise and it really meant a lot because we learned a lot of information about Grenada and the forest reserve. The information what was given to us is very beneficial. It will help us with our competition because we need lots of information to put together to do little things to inform the public, even our school, our family members, about climate change adaptation and what they could do. And in the future time to come, it will benefit us because we will know what to do in terms of what climate change means and so on.
I thought it was very entertaining and educational at the same time, because we got to hang around with people from other different groups as well as ours. So, and also we heard stuff about climate change, how to lessen the effects, and we learned about the rainforest and species that will live there.
It was a bonus to all the stuff that I already knew about climate change. It really helped us to build a little on what we already knew. And the trail was actually very nice. It was, except for all the mud, but it was very nice.
Well, they actually thought the walk was too short. They thought it could have been longer. But they learned a lot from it, especially what the man spoke about the wildlife and how we should preserve wildlife. They learned a lot.
All disasters in their own way are linked to climate change. We should try to stop cutting down our trees for deforestation, trying to just make the world a better place, to stop all the carbon emissions that rise, that make climate change.
We need the forest, and almost a tree, it almost gives 1 ton of oxygen for its whole lifespan. That's very important, and plus the endangered species and so on. Yes, I learned a lot.
The Comprehensive Disaster Management Youth Champion competition climaxed with a CDM youth debate and mini-concert. Participants debated the resolution that children and young people should be an intricate part of the process for effective comprehensive disaster management and climate change adaptation, and that the government of Grenada should take steps to include these current issues in the school curriculum.
We had young persons debating a relevant resolution, and they worked very hard in preparing that resolution to put forward sensible arguments that young persons can learn from and the elderly folks who were there can learn from. We had the parents of these students attending that youth debate and mini concert. We had the Prime Minister, the person who's in charge of the country, the highest office, there giving remarks and sitting in and listening and contributing.
We must not only learn from our own experience, but from the experiences of others as we develop and advance toward a comprehensive disaster management and disaster risk reduction agenda. It is my hope that the ongoing efforts of this agency will serve to further educate and build greater awareness among our population, including children and young people, to increase their participation in disaster risk reduction, comprehensive disaster management, and climate change adaptation actions.
We had a representative from CDM, and that's great. CDM is actively involved in this process, and we are grateful. In fact, CDM is the lead sponsor towards this initiative. So we had these individuals, quite a number of ministers. It's important because the policymakers were there to listen to the young persons, their viewpoints, and what they believe the policymakers need to do to at least transform, to help them reduce their risk and minimize their vulnerability and so on.
Madam President, having contemporary disaster management organizations such as NADMA devised and executed numerous programs to sensitize, mobilize, and equip our nations with the necessary tools and knowledge to deal with disasters, isn't it obvious that we, youths, are of vital importance in their means of carrying the message? Take, for instance, this very program, the CDM Youth Champion Competition. Isn't this an ingenious means of getting us into action? Yes, Madam President, we are involved in this debate right now, educating all about climate change adaptation. Think about it. Can an 80-year-old man or woman with arthritis in both back and foot get into serious action of sensitizing, mobilizing, and equipping our nation with the necessary tools and knowledge of dealing with disasters? I think not.
Our planet is warning us, Madam President, that it cannot support our current way of life. Knowledge, however, is our greatest defense in the light of these changes. By understanding how we can fit into the overall climate change equation, we can opt to make a difference to the way we live our lives. What can we do to make a difference?
Fortunately for us, Madam President, there are many ways in which you can make a difference, such as driving less and walking more, reducing our greenhouse gas emission by using less energy, having proper garbage disposal, performing regular servicing of vehicles, and by reducing waste by reusing and recycling instead, and replanting trees for every tree cut down, because one tree can absorb a ton of carbon dioxide over its lifetime. On this note, I rest my case. Effective comprehensive disaster management efforts have been attributed to the collaborative efforts of several governments, institutions, and non-governmental organizations. The proposition seemed not to recognize that what is integral to this global initiative is not so much the proportion of youth versus adults contributing to the process, but rather a level of collaboration amongst the various groups and organizations, and their effectiveness in coming up with global solutions to global problems. The issue of comprehensive disaster management is such an urgent concern that members of the opposition should be clamoring for the most qualified minds to bring about effective comprehensive disaster management. As a young person, I would surely like to think that I can play an integral role in the process. In fact, young people have been involved at various levels, for instance, awareness and sustainable development. But every youth, Madam Chair,
Honourable Member, you have 1 minute left.
even I must recognize that we have limitations. Youth may have the vigor and the energy, creative ideas and talents, but very often they lack financial and other resources, technical know-how, as well as the level of influence necessary to make an impact in the whole grand scheme of things. If such events were to visit our shores, what are we going to do? Would we leave the students at the mercy of their unpreparedness and send in the trained adults to clean up the remains afterwards? I certainly hope not. Madam President, the same students will have to be the ones to protect themselves and others. It is obvious, therefore, that whether we like it or not, students do have a crucial role to play in disaster management in an island as vulnerable as ours. Secondly, Madam President, a big aspect of disaster management is preparedness. Students who are prepared will effectively take the message home and to the wider communities, therefore sensitizing people on the issues critical to climate change and disaster management. This in turn can promote attitudes of safety and result in communities uniting to plant trees, clear drain, and undertake the activities for the benefit of everyone.
The fact is, Madam President, that the current school curriculum is grossly overburdened and puts a tremendous strain on students. The most important subjects, English and mathematics, do not receive the time and attention required to impart the necessary information to students. This is evident in the annual CXC pass rates of these subjects. Statistics from the CXC website, caribexams.com, show that in June 2010 seating, the pass rates for mathematics and English were 41% and 66% respectively. In June 2011, Madam President, it was a woeful 36%, and I reiterate, 36% for mathematics and 67% for English A. Madam President, students should be allowed to improve their grades in these and other core subjects and leave CDM to the trade and paid professionals. The facts are, Madam President, Form 1 students are currently doing 13 subjects, Form 2 students 14, and I myself, as a Form 3 student, have the workload of 18 subjects with up to 7 different subjects in one day. Instead of adding to the syllabus, Madam President, steps should be taken to reform it so that students would not be burdened with the workload.
On a point of information.
Accepted.
Honourable Member, please state your point of clarification.
You stated that students years ago did not have all of these subjects. These subjects were integrated to adapt to this changing times, and I think that we should also integrate comprehensive disaster management and climate change adaptation to protect ourselves from further disaster.
Ivan devastated almost 90% of the housing stock according to the World Bank assessment. Madam President, 9 months after Hurricane Emily came on July 13, 2005 and devastated almost about 80% of the agriculture stock. Madam President, on October 26, 2002 and December 12, 2003, the houses in River Road were greatly damaged. Places like Grenville always flood when there is heavy rainfall. Madam President, the Ministry of Finance was engulfed by fire on April 20th, 1990. Not long after, the Grenada Boys Secondary School was confiscated by fire also on May 23rd, 1993, April 9th, 2009, and June 9th, 2005. Integrating comprehensive disaster management into the school's curriculum is an initiative that Grenada's economy is incapable of maintaining financially. The inclusion of CDM in the school's curriculum requires the employment of qualified personnel to accomplish the given task. According to the Ministry of Education, Finance Department, a qualified grade 2 teacher earns a salary of approximately 30,000 EC per year. There are 22 secondary schools and 62 primary schools throughout Grenada, Kaiku, and Petit Martinique. As a result, Madam President, the government is compelled to recruit at least 84 teachers in total, thereby incurring an expense of 2,520,000 EC per annum. Over 2 million spent on what? An investment which will yield no economic benefit, because this still does not alter one vulnerability significantly. Could you imagine over 2 million spent each year just to educate over 40,000 students about disaster management in these tough economic times? While other economies crying, Grenada spending, hey yo. According to my grandma, Vinuka, well, come in, you will see. We are in no position to handle this enormous additional cost. I think this will be more an injustice to the government. Madam President, if my fellow opponents still fail to understand this, allow me to tell them in Spanish. Incluyendo la enseñanza de cómo responder a desastres naturales en la currícula de escuelas secundarias no tienes económico.
What is the importance of the CDM group? And what is the point of you being part of the CDM competition when you oppose youth participation in the process? Madam President, I stand to further endorse the resolution tabled by my colleagues. Statistics have shown that over 77 million children are affected every year as a result of disasters. According to the 2001 census, there are approximately 59,000 young people in Grenada. The youth hold the future of disaster management in their hands.
We must prevent nature from saying farewell. In case it's dying, we're dying as well.
The mini concert was talent on display. Songs that I have never heard, authentic, genuine songs that the students sat and they developed.
No hurricanes, no tsunami, no earthquakes to crush our country. Let us come and work together, so our island will be safer. Educate your friends and family to decrease our vulnerability. So let's stop talk and start acting. Hurry up, friend, clock is ticking.
Them no see success, so please don't just stress. Let us protect our future, and together we all sing forever.
When we get older, we will remember NADMA has changed our lives forever, yes. And then it goes back, and then it goes back to what you taught us.
With the CDM group there, it's climate change time again. It's climate change all over. Even in Grenada, it's upsetting me neighbor. Stop throwing trash in the river. Climate change all over. Even in Grenada, it's upsetting me neighbor. Stop throwing trash in the river. As I enter Wesley College, a poster greet me. He said the earth is warming very rapidly. He said I shouldn't stand idle and just wait and see. Instead, I should be part of the recovery story. Hey, CDM, we coming down in a knowledge all around, but please don't give us a front. Help us build our own. Climate change is affecting we, so let's conserve energy. That will help us save money to build the economy. So I check the CDM group, they say I could come with 20 of their members. So yes, they having fun. They're embarking on a project to make people know when they throw up on the garbage, just where it does go.
What was the drama?
The electric wire.
He tried to out it
with a glass of liquor.
Next thing he noticed,
the fire spreading faster.
For an electrical fire, use a fire extinguisher. But if it's a handed fire, you can use some water.
CDM wants you to know what that floods, hurricanes, storms, and more destroy people's lives and homes. Then you're left with no choice, so you better think twice. Put out your flashes and your batteries. Where your cricks pan there, you know what them say. Keep on looking for these things when they happen, cause you never know when they strike.
NADMA, NADMA's gonna help you with hurricanes, storms, and floods. Who's gonna help you now? NADMA's gonna help you. NADMA's gonna help you. NADMA's gonna help you, help you, help you. CDM wants you to know what that floods, hurricanes, storms, and more destroys people's lives and homes. Then you're left with no choice, so you better think twice. Put out your flashlights and your batteries. Where your cricks pan there, you know what them say. Keep on looking for these things when they happen, cause you never know when they strike.
When we look around us, we can see all the beauty of our country. But years before, natural disasters brought us down. But this time, we will stand strong. Be prepared for anything that comes. We are an independent country. We be prepared for Ivan and Emily. Let's not contribute to disaster. Climate change is coming in faster. Greenhouse gases, that's our cause, and we must not cut down the trees at all. Recycle, put your litter in a bin. Be prepared for any hurricane coming. Put your documents in a bag. Everybody be prepared right now.
We believe that this initiative can be replicated. We believe that other countries can run with this initiative because it is a student-led, student-driven initiative. You do not have to put too much finance into it, but you have to sit with the stakeholders, work with the manual, and push it forward, and ensure that the Ministry of Education give you the go-ahead, that they say yes, it's good. Not because you're the disaster management agency in the country, you can just go ahead and run this initiative, understanding that the schools have other extracurricular activities. Again, the incentives are great. You have to have a very good incentive towards this initiative. I mean, look at the prices. We had computers, we had free internet service for the winner, we had trophies and plaques and printers and, you know, a CDM backpack. We had dictionaries. We had quite a number of real stuff.
The winner goes to St. Patrick's, and the school is the Grenada Comprehensive Secondary School. So, second year running.
The sustainable component of this competition is that you have a CDM school group remaining in the secondary schools in Grenada with 20 or so students and more, who would continue with the disaster management activities, who continue the sensitization on climate change adaptation and comprehensive disaster management and disaster risk reduction. So they are now an integral component of the school structure, you know, and that's important. 2 years before this intervention, we never had a disaster management group in the school. We have a disaster management group with a structure, with a constitution. We have developed that constitution for them because we believe that there must be a standardized approach to this. Because what we seek to do is to build an institution within the school.
Developing ways of adapting to climate change and becoming aware of a more comprehensive approach to disaster management should be tabled on the agenda of every society. The 2012 CDM Youth Champion competition brought these topics to the fore. Through this NADMA program, students in Grenada now have a greater appreciation of how their actions and advocacy of such issues help contribute to a better environment and a brighter future.
Yeah, Eclipse, Javon, Edison, yeah. But say you gotta be prepared in this time of your life. You gotta be prepared in this time of your life. You don't know what will hit you, and you don't know what will But say you gotta be prepared in these times of your life. You gotta be prepared in these times of your life. You don't know what go eat you, and you don't know what go eat you.
See, there are some people who recognize that there are sometimes you have to open up your eyes, cause disaster can strike you anywhere, anywhere. Whoa. And one thing that we really have to see is to be on the lookout just for you and me, cause disaster can strike you anywhere, anywhere.